Studio microphone emoji, The Journey of Cities, from 1920 to 2030. A journey through cities and time. Close your eyes and imagine walking through the streets of history. The year is 1920, you hear the chatter of cafés in Paris, the clinking of glasses, the buzz of a world rebuilding itself after war. A few steps later, you're in New York, London, Tokyo. Each city is alive, each heartbeat telling a different story. Cities are not just places. They are living organisms. They breathe, they grow, they stumble, they rise again. They carry the dreams of millions, the scars of struggle, the joy of celebration. To understand a city is to understand the people who built it, who loved it, who fought for it. Over the next hour, we will travel across time and continents. We will visit 12 cities, each at a turning point in history. From the jazz-soaked nights of 1920s Paris, to the neon glow of Los Angeles in the 1980s, to the silent streets of Mumbai under lockdown in 2020. And finally, we'll glimpse the future in Lagos, 2030, a city that embodies Africa's unstoppable rise. This is not just a history of buildings and borders. It is a story of resilience, ambition, and hope. It is about how human beings adapt, survive, and dream, no matter what century, no matter what city. So, take this journey with me. Listen closely to the footsteps, the voices, the music of each place. Because within these cities, you will also find echoes of your own story. A century in motion. The 20th century was not just a passage of time, it was a storm of transformation. Wars reshaped borders, revolutions overturned traditions, technology shrank the world, and cities became mirrors of human dreams and fears. To walk through a city is to walk through history, its streets whisper of triumphs and tragedies, of love and struggle, of memory and hope. Over the next 12 chapters, we will journey across 110 years, moving from Paris in 1920 to Lagos in 2030. Each city tells a story. Each story carries a lesson. And together, they form a tapestry of humanity, our resilience, our creativity, and our relentless drive to build a future, no matter the obstacles. This is not just a story about places. It is a story about people, about us. The way we rise after destruction, the way we celebrate life even in hardship, the way we keep moving forward when the world changes faster than we can imagine. Let us begin where modern memory often begins, in Paris, the city of light, in the year 1920. Chapter 1, Paris, 1920, the city of light after the war. Paris in 1920 is not the romantic postcard we imagine today. The First World War has just ended 2 years earlier, and the city still carries the weight of loss. Families mourn sons who will never return. Streets are filled with wounded veterans, their faces marked by scars both seen and unseen. Yet, amid the shadows, a flame of resilience flickers. Paris refuses to surrender to despair. Cafés on Boulevard Montparnasse buzz with conversation. Writers, painters, and musicians gather, chasing new ideas. They are part of what will later be called Les Années Folles, the crazy years. After the silence of war, the city bursts into sound. Jazz drifts through smoky bars. The Charleston and the Foxtrot invite young Parisians to dance, to forget, to live again. The expatriates arrive, Americans like Ernest Hemingway, Gertrude Stein, and F. Scott Fitzgerald. They are the lost generation, searching for meaning in a fractured world. They write novels, paint canvases, and debate philosophy over cheap wine and black coffee. For them, Paris is not just a city, it is a laboratory of modern thought. Meanwhile, the ordinary citizens of Paris rebuild their lives. Bakers rise at dawn to fill the air with the smell of fresh baguettes. Seamstresses mend old clothes, making do in a fragile economy. Children play in the parks, their laughter echoing like a promise that life will continue. But Paris in 1920 is also restless. Women, who worked in factories during the war, demand more freedom. Artists like Picasso and Dalí experiment with cubism and surrealism, breaking the rules of the past. Technology arrives in daily life, automobiles rattle through the cobblestone streets, and telephones ring in middle-class homes. The city is a paradox, mourning and dancing, grieving and dreaming. Out of tragedy emerges creativity. Out of silence emerges music. Paris shows the world that even after destruction, beauty can bloom. Lesson of Paris, 1920, from ruins, art and imagination can rebuild the human spirit. Chapter 2, New York, 1930, the roar of ambition. Across the Atlantic, a different energy hums. New York in 1930 is a city of ambition, steel, and dreams. Skyscrapers claw at the sky, the Chrysler Building, freshly completed, gleams like a crown of modernity. The Empire State Building, still under construction, promises to be the tallest in the world. To stand on Fifth Avenue is to feel the future rising before your eyes. Yet beneath the glitter, shadows lengthen. The Great Depression has just begun. Wall Street's crash in 1929 shattered fortunes overnight. Bankers once drunk on profit now stand in breadlines. Families lose homes, men wander the streets searching for work, women sew and cook with whatever scraps they can find. New York becomes a city of contrasts, riches and rags side by side. On Broadway, theaters still glow with music and laughter. Harlem swings with the sound of jazz, the Harlem Renaissance in full bloom. Writers like Langston Hughes and Zora Neale Hurston give voice to African American pride, while Duke Ellington and Louis Armstrong turn hardship into rhythm. Immigrants continue to arrive, Italians, Jews, Irish, Eastern Europeans, each carrying hopes of survival. In crowded tenements, they speak different languages, eat different foods, but all chase the same dream, opportunity. Despite crisis, New York refuses to stop. Construction projects continue, giving jobs to thousands. Newspapers proclaim headlines of despair, but also of resilience. The Statue of Liberty still stands in the harbor, a silent witness to both suffering and hope. For a visitor in 1930, the city feels alive with contradiction. One block echoes with jazz, another with silence from shuttered shops. One street glitters with neon, another crumbles with poverty. And yet, it is precisely this tension that gives New York its spirit. Lesson of New York, 1930. Even in the deepest hardship, ambition keeps us building toward the sky. Chapter 3, London, 1940, the Blitz and Courage. London in 1940 is a city under siege. The air hums not with music or laughter, but with the drone of German bombers. Night after night, the Luftwaffe rains fire upon the capital. The city burns, yet it does not break. Families crowd into underground stations, turning train platforms into makeshift bedrooms. Children clutch teddy bears while mothers whisper lullabies to drown out the explosions above. The smell of smoke and dust seeps into every corner. By day, Londoners carry on with astonishing defiance. Milkmen still deliver bottles, their carts rattling past bomb craters. Buses still run, weaving around rubble. Winston Churchill's voice booms from radios, promising that Britain will never surrender. His words become a lifeline. The Blitz is brutal. St. Paul's Cathedral narrowly survives, rising like a beacon amid destruction. Schools are evacuated, sending children to the countryside. Blackout curtains cover every window, turning nights into endless shadows. Yet even in the darkest hours, there are sparks of resilience. Neighbors share rations, strangers help clear debris, communities form unbreakable bonds. Londoners find courage in small rituals, cups of tea, laughter in air raid shelters, songs sung together in defiance. The war transforms daily life, but also unites the people. London in 1940 teaches the world that a city is not its buildings, but its spirit. Lesson of London, 1940, true strength is found in unity, even when the sky itself is falling. Chapter 4, Tokyo, 1950, Ashes to Innovation. 10 years later, on the other side of the world, another city rises from ruins. Tokyo in 1950 is scarred by war. Entire districts are reduced to ashes from the firebombings of 1945. The city is rebuilding, street by street, home by home. But beneath the rubble lies determination. Families return to neighborhoods once flattened, planting gardens where bombs once fell. Markets reopen, selling rice, fish, and vegetables, modest but full of life. American occupation reshapes the city, new schools, new industries, new ideas. Yet Japanese traditions endure. Temples stand quietly amid construction sites. Kimono-clad women walk past men in Western suits. Old and new blend like ink on paper. Tokyo embraces technology with remarkable speed. By 1950, factories hum with activity, producing radios, cameras, and cars. The seeds of Japan's future miracle economy are sown. Children study diligently, their parents urging them to seize education as the path to a better life. Cultural life blooms again. Cinema becomes a mirror of the nation's soul. Directors like Akira Kurosawa release films that capture both suffering and resilience. The arts remind Tokyo that even in hardship, beauty persists. At night, neon lights begin to flicker across the Ginza district. Though modest compared to later decades, they symbolize renewal. Tokyo is no longer just a city recovering, it is a city reinventing itself. Lesson of Tokyo, 1950. From ashes, innovation and discipline can build a brighter future. Chapter 5, Havana, 1960, Rhythm and Revolution. Havana in 1960 is a city caught between music and politics. On one street, salsa rhythms spill from dance halls, couples moving with fiery passion. On another, revolutionary posters cover the walls, proclaiming change and defiance. The Cuban Revolution has just reshaped the nation. Fidel Castro's rise to power brings both hope and tension. For the poor, land reforms and literacy campaigns promise opportunity. For others, uncertainty grows as ties with the United States fracture. Still, Havana's soul beats strongest through its culture. Classic American cars, Chevrolets, Buicks, Fords from the 1940s, still rumble down the Malecón, painted in bright blues and reds. Musicians strum guitars on street corners, their voices blending with the ocean breeze. Cigars are rolled by hand, sold with pride as symbols of Cuban craftsmanship. Daily life is simple but vibrant. Families share meals of rice, beans, and plantains. Children play baseball in the streets, their laughter echoing between colonial buildings. Havana is poor in wealth but rich in spirit. The revolution brings change, political rallies fill the squares, neighbors debate the future with intensity. Some dream of equality, others fear isolation. But in every heart, Havana remains alive with energy. The world looks at Havana in 1960 with fascination, part romance, part rebellion. To live here is to dance between joy and struggle, music and politics, tradition and transformation. Lesson of Havana, 1960. Even in the storm of revolution, culture and rhythm keep the human spirit alive. Chapter 6, Nairobi, 1970. The Dawn of Independence. Nairobi in 1970 is alive with a new kind of energy, the energy of independence. Kenya has only recently freed itself from British colonial rule, and the capital reflects both the weight of the past and the promise of the future. The streets hum with voices in Swahili and English, the sounds of a nation finding its rhythm. Markets overflow with color, woven baskets, bright chitinge fabrics, fresh fruit piled high, bananas, mangoes, avocados. Women carry bundles on their heads with effortless grace, while men gather at kiosks to discuss politics over cups of strong chai. The city itself is a blend of old and new. Colonial-era buildings still stand, their stone facades reminders of another time. But alongside them, modern offices rise, symbols of ambition. The Kenyatta International Conference Center, newly built, towers above the skyline, a declaration that Nairobi is stepping onto the world stage. Music fills the air. Benga, a fast-paced guitar-driven style, sweeps across dance halls. Radio stations broadcast both traditional rhythms and global hits. The youth of Nairobi move between two worlds, proud of their roots, but eager to embrace modern culture. Education is a national priority. Schools expand, universities open doors to more students. A sense of possibility grows. For many families, sending a child to university feels like sending hope into the future. But Nairobi in 1970 is not without struggle. Poverty remains widespread, and inequality lingers. Rural migrants flood into the city, searching for work, swelling informal settlements on the outskirts. Political tensions simmer, as the young democracy faces challenges. Yet even in hardship, there is pride in sovereignty, pride in culture, pride in being Kenyan. Walking through Nairobi at this time feels like walking through a crossroads of history, a city balancing tradition and modernity, carrying scars of the past but stepping boldly into the future. Lesson of Nairobi, 1970, independence is more than freedom from rule, it is the courage to imagine and build a future. Chapter 7, Los Angeles, 1980, Dreams in Neon. In 1980, Los Angeles glows under the desert sun by day and neon lights by night. The city sells dreams, on movie screens, in music videos, on billboards that stretch along Sunset Boulevard. Hollywood is at its peak, and the world looks to LA for entertainment, glamour, and escape. Cinemas boom with blockbusters, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and countless action films. On MTV, just launched in 1981, music videos turn stars into icons. Michael Jackson, Madonna, Prince, the sound of the 80s radiates from Los Angeles to the entire planet. The city itself reflects this mix of fantasy and reality. Palm trees line freeways jammed with cars. Shoppers crowd into malls, neon signs flicker above roller rinks, and teenagers carry boomboxes on their shoulders. Surf culture thrives on the beaches, while just a few miles inland, neighborhoods face unemployment and tension. For the wealthy, Los Angeles is endless possibility, mansions in Beverly Hills, designer clothes, Hollywood parties. For the poor, especially in South Central, it is struggle and exclusion. Inequality is stark, but everyone chases the same thing, the dream of making it big. Latino and Asian immigrants reshape the cultural fabric of the city. Mexican food trucks, Korean markets, and Salvadoran pupuserias give LA its unique flavor. Diversity becomes both a challenge and a source of strength. Technology begins to seep into everyday life. Personal computers appear in some homes, video arcades glow with Pac-Man and Space Invaders. A digital future whispers from the horizon, even as the present dazzles with excess. Los Angeles in 1980 is glitter and grit, a place where illusion and reality collide. To walk its streets is to feel possibility and contradiction. Lesson of Los Angeles, 1980, dreams can inspire, but they also reveal the distance between fantasy and reality. Chapter 8, Moscow, 1990, The end of an empire. Moscow in 1990 is a city standing on a fault line of history. The Soviet Union, once a superpower, is collapsing. On Red Square, the Kremlin walls still loom, but the certainty they once represented is crumbling. Shops are nearly empty. Citizens line up for hours, waiting for bread, sugar, or soap. Ration cards are clutched in cold hands. The economy staggers under shortages and inflation. For ordinary Muscovites, daily life is a test of endurance. Yet change is in the air. Political protests swell in the streets. Newspapers, once tightly controlled, begin to publish criticism of the government. Glasnost, openness and perestroika, restructuring become the new watchwords. People taste freedom, even as uncertainty deepens. In apartments, families gather around televisions to watch news of the Berlin Wall falling, of new nations declaring independence. The world they knew is unraveling before their eyes. Some feel fear, others hope. Culture responds in kind. Rock bands like Kino and DDT give voice to a restless generation. Art exhibitions push boundaries, films explore taboo subjects. After decades of silence, expression bursts into the open. The city itself is tired but alive. Snow falls on Lenin's mausoleum, where tourists and citizens alike wonder what future awaits. The Moscow metro still glitters with chandeliers, symbols of past grandeur. But outside, street vendors sell imported jeans and cassette tapes, a sign that capitalism is already seeping in. For Muscovites in 1990, the empire is ending, and no one knows what comes next. It is a moment of loss, but also of possibility. Lesson of Moscow, 1990, when an old order falls, fear and hope walk hand in hand. Chapter 9, Shanghai, 2000, the city that rose overnight. At the dawn of the new millennium, Shanghai stands as a living metaphor for transformation. Just 2 decades earlier, the city had been quiet, its grand colonial buildings from the Bund gazing silently across the Huangpu River at farmland and sleepy villages. But in 2000, that view is unrecognizable. Across the river, in Pudong, towers of glass and steel rise like a forest of ambition. The Oriental Pearl Tower, with its futuristic spheres, dominates the skyline. Cranes stretch across the horizon, lifting entire neighborhoods into existence. Skyscrapers grow so quickly that the city seems to reinvent itself every year. Walking along Nanjing Road, one feels the rush of capitalism in full bloom. Neon signs flicker, department stores overflow with goods, and young Shanghainese clutch shopping bags filled with foreign brands once unimaginable. McDonald's and KFC, global symbols of modern consumerism, are no longer novelties, they are everyday life. But Shanghai in 2000 is not just about Western imports. Traditional street food stalls still sizzle with dumplings and skewers. Inside alleys, old men play mahjong, their laughter mingling with the honking of new taxis. The clash of eras is everywhere, ancient traditions alongside rapid modernization. Technology is reshaping the city. Internet cafes buzz with teenagers logging onto chat rooms and online games. Mobile phones, once rare, begin to appear in the hands of businessmen and university students. The digital age is no longer a dream, it has arrived. For ordinary Shanghainese, opportunity and challenge walk side by side. Migrant workers flood in from the countryside, building the skyscrapers they may never set foot inside. Families juggle the cost of rising rents, while chasing the promise of better lives for their children. Education becomes the golden ticket, and parents push their kids to study English, computers, and finance. Shanghai is also the stage for China's global debut. The city prepares for the 2010 World Expo, showcasing itself as the future of Asia. Foreign investors pour in, multinationals set up headquarters, and the world begins to recognize Shanghai as the new New York of the East. And yet, beneath the glittering skyline, nostalgia lingers. The long alleyways, narrow lanes of old brick houses, still shelter generations of families, though many know their days are numbered. Residents hang laundry on bamboo poles, children chase each other in courtyards, and elders sip tea, watching as bulldozers approach. Progress is unstoppable, but it comes at a cost. By the year 2000, Shanghai has become a symbol, a city that can reinvent itself almost overnight, leaving the world astonished at the speed of its rise. To live here is to feel the future pressing against the present. Lesson of Shanghai, 2000, transformation demands sacrifice, but it also proves how quickly a city, and a nation, can change its destiny. Chapter 10, Rio de Janeiro, 2010, Carnival of Contrasts. In 2010, Rio de Janeiro is a city that dazzles the world. It is a place where joy and struggle live side by side, where samba drums echo as helicopters circle above, and where the beauty of nature collides with the realities of urban life. From the beaches of Copacabana and Ipanema, Rio looks like paradise. Golden sand stretches for miles, waves crash under the warm Brazilian sun, and beachgoers sip coconut water while playing football barefoot. Tourists arrive in waves, drawn by the rhythm of music and the promise of carefree celebration. At night, the city explodes into color. The samba schools prepare for carnival, sewing sequins and feathers onto costumes that will dazzle millions. In the Sambadrome, dancers practice routines that tell stories of history, culture, and resistance. The drums beat faster, and the city seems to move as one body, pulsing with rhythm. But just beyond the postcard image, Rio tells another story. The favelas climb the hillsides, crowded neighborhoods where families build homes from brick and hope. Children play soccer in narrow alleys, while graffiti splashes walls with bold messages of pride and protest. Life here is vibrant but tough, gangs control some areas, and violence often erupts. In 2010, Rio is on the global stage. Brazil has just been chosen to host the 2014 FIFA World Cup and the 2016 Olympic Games. Billboards across the city boast slogans of progress and unity. Construction cranes swing over new stadiums and transport systems. The government promises that the mega events will bring prosperity and development. Yet many residents wonder who truly benefits. Some are displaced as favelas are cleared to make way for highways and sports arenas. Others watch as billions are spent on preparations, while schools and hospitals remain underfunded. The contrasts are striking, glittering new infrastructure on one side, daily struggles on the other. Still, Rio's spirit cannot be dimmed. Music is everywhere, samba, bossa nova, funk karaoke. In the streets, people gather around barbecues, sharing laughter and stories late into the night. Football continues to unite rich and poor, young and old. Children in favelas dream of becoming the next Pele or Ronaldinho, their talent shining through dust and concrete. The city itself is breathtaking. The statue of Christ the Redeemer opens its arms over Guanabara Bay, as if embracing both wealth and poverty, both light and shadow. Sugarloaf Mountain stands eternal, a reminder that nature has always been Rio's greatest stage. For visitors in 2010, Rio de Janeiro is unforgettable, a carnival of contrasts. It is proof that beauty and struggle can exist together, that joy can bloom even in hardship, and that a city's soul lies not in its stadiums or skyscrapers, but in the people who dance, sing, and live with unshakable spirit. Lesson of Rio, 2010. True strength lies in resilience, the ability to celebrate life even when challenges never end. Chapter 11, Mumbai, 2020, the city in lockdown. In 2020, Mumbai, India's financial capital, its city of dreams, is brought to a sudden standstill. Known for its unstoppable pace, the city that never sleeps suddenly goes quiet, silenced by a global pandemic. For decades, Mumbai has been a whirlwind, Bollywood film sets glowing with lights, stock traders shouting on Dalal Street, trains packed with millions rushing to work each day. The air vibrates with ambition and exhaustion. But in March 2020, the familiar sounds vanish. No traffic jams. No honking horns. The lifeline of the city, its trains, stands still for the first time in history. The lockdown exposes Mumbai's contrasts. In high-rise apartments overlooking the Arabian Sea, families work from home, ordering groceries online. But in Dharavi, one of Asia's largest slums, social distancing is impossible. Thousands share narrow lanes and crowded rooms. Water taps are communal, and survival means breaking the very rules meant to keep people safe. Hospitals overflow. Doctors and nurses work in masks and plastic shields, fighting exhaustion. Sirens wail through empty streets, carrying patients to emergency wards. Fear hangs in the air, but so does determination. Volunteers deliver food to the hungry, neighbors check on one another, and Bollywood stars donate to relief funds. Meanwhile, the city finds new ways to keep its spirit alive. On balconies, people clap and bang utensils in solidarity with healthcare workers. Musicians stream live concerts from their living rooms. Priests chant prayers over video calls. Even in isolation, Mumbai finds connection. The economic impact is brutal. Daily wage workers, who once built the skyscrapers and cleaned the offices, walk hundreds of miles back to their villages, carrying children and bags on their shoulders. The city's glittering skyline hides the suffering of those who kept it alive. And yet, Mumbai is resilient. By late 2020, as restrictions ease, the trains rumble again, film sets reopen, and the stock market rises. Masks remain, hand sanitizers become routine, but the heartbeat of the city returns. Mumbai proves once again why it is called the maximum city. It bends, but it never breaks. Lesson of Mumbai, 2020, even when silence falls on the busiest of places, resilience and solidarity can keep hope alive. Chapter 12, Lagos, 2030, the future is African. It is 2030, and Lagos stands as one of the fastest growing cities in the world. Once seen only through the lens of chaos, traffic jams, overcrowding, endless hustle, Lagos has become a symbol of Africa's rising future. From the air, the city is a sprawl of energy. Skyscrapers rise over Victoria Island, gleaming with glass and steel. The Lekki deep sea port buzzes with trade, making Nigeria a hub for West Africa. Tech startups flourish in Yaba, often called Yabakan Valley, where young innovators design apps that connect millions across the continent. The streets still overflow with life. Danfo minibuses honk, street vendors sell roasted corn and plantain, and Afrobeat blares from speakers on every corner. The rhythm of Fela Kuti lives on, now fused with global pop, shaping the sound of a new generation. By 2030, Lagos is home to more than 25 million people. Its challenges are immense: housing shortages, flooding from rising seas, and pressure on infrastructure. Yet, its people turn challenges into opportunities. Entrepreneurs build solar-powered homes, designers create affordable housing, and communities organize to keep the city moving forward. The world now looks to Lagos not only as a megacity of problems, but as a laboratory of solutions. Nigerian fashion dominates runways in London and New York. Nollywood, the country's film industry, streams to global audiences on digital platforms. Young Africans in Lagos tell their own stories, and the world listens. Hope fills the air. A new middle class emerges, with children studying coding, medicine, and engineering. Universities attract international partnerships. The diaspora returns, bringing skills and investment. The phrase "the future is African" no longer sounds like a dream, it feels like reality, and Lagos is its beating heart. The skyline at night glitters, but the soul of Lagos is still in its streets, in the laughter of market women, in the determination of motorbike riders, in the creativity of artists painting murals on crumbling walls. It is a city of hustle, but also of vision. By 2030, Lagos declares to the world, Africa is not the future, it is the present. Lesson of Lagos, 2030, growth is never perfect, but with creativity and resilience, even the most chaotic city can become a beacon of hope. The lessons of cities. We have walked through a century of cities. We have seen Paris dancing in freedom, Berlin rising from ashes, Shanghai racing into the future, Rio celebrating through struggle, and Mumbai standing strong in silence. We have seen how Lagos, once overlooked, now shines as a beacon for the future. What do these stories teach us? That cities are mirrors of humanity. They reflect our creativity, our mistakes, our resilience, and our dreams. They show us that progress is never perfect, but always possible. Every city we visited held the same truth. What defines a place is not its skyline, but its people. The laughter in narrow streets, the music in crowded markets, the courage of workers, the imagination of children. That is what makes a city alive. And so, as we end this journey, I ask you, what story is your city telling? What story are you a part of? If this journey inspired you, share it with someone who loves history, who loves travel, or simply loves stories about the human spirit. Subscribe, so you don't miss the next adventure. Because the story of cities is never over, it is being written every day, in every street, in every heart. Until then, remember, wherever you are, whatever city you call home, you are part of its story, and its future.